Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. Today's reading is going to be... I don't know the title yet, to be honest. It's like a future spouse reading, but I don't mean spouse. It's just somebody who you really fall for, who makes an impression on your life. So who's coming into your life that's going to be a big deal? That's going to be a long thumbnail, so I'm going to change it, but that's what the intention is. Before I start, can I just say thank you to everybody who's inquired about private readings. I do offer private readings on my website, which is HULUPPU.co.uk. But this week I'm keeping really quiet because I've got family down, so I'm going to try and be sociable, very unlike me. So if you want to book, I will be putting some more up next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. Okay, right. You have got three choices. You have got Pantone 5125, you've got Pantone 291, and Black Iris 19-3921. If you want to take your choice, and then we'll have a look to see who's coming in, how you can recognise them. And that's basically it. How you can recognise them, more than the relationship. It's just how you can... how you can recognise them. Okay, if you want to take your choice. Okay, pile number one. I'm going to start and I'm going to actually try and go through this really slowly, which is not like me. There's quite a lot of cards here and there's a lot of information, so I'm going to try and weed through it slowly, so you might need to get yourself a cup of tea. If you think that you don't like long-winded tarot videos, you may want to get yourself along somewhere, you may find it difficult. This to me gives me a feeling of somebody who's like an activist, somebody who likes to work in group situations and support the whole rather than being a one-to-one person. It has a feeling of like a Sagittarius feeling, but there's no cards here that are making me think Sagittarius, apart from maybe the horse down here. It's somebody who doesn't mind working on their own, but to do something for others. It's a real sort of heroic feel of somebody who has a good heart and wants to make a stamp in the world. Somebody who has a lot of inner fire, strong will, is very directed, but wants to move a lot of people. It's not somebody who sits at the back of an office and works away on their own. If they work on their own, which is possible, they have what I would say thinking this colour here as well, quite a mature outlook to how they want to change the world. It makes me think of a Mark Clooney, was the first thought, especially when I put this world card down here, and it makes me think of somebody with the energy of a student, when you have that passion, that drive, and you believe that you can change anything. Somebody who stands up for their own beliefs and defends the rights of others. It's that sort of feeling. So it could be something like a lawyer, why I said a Mark Clooney, that type of personality. It's like a hard-working activist, a hard-working lawyer, that type of person. May not be the easiest person to get on with. It very possibly could be that get-together that's either difficult to actually get together, or your first get-together could be a bit contentious in some way or antagonistic in some way. Because of these personalities, somebody who's not afraid to rub up individuals because they don't really think that much about individual egos. It's a case of there's more to life than just making people feel good. Like in a one-to-one relationship, it has that Sagittarius feeling of wanting to make a group feel good, not bump up somebody's ego. Very much. I'm going to say it quickly. Very much the feeling of my mum and dad, because my dad was very Sagittarius and liked lots of people, and my mum was very Pluto and liked a really strong contact. So he was off doing things and my mum was like, I'm going to beat you up when you get home. That type of feeling, you know, your dinner is in the dog bowl, that it was very much that. It does have this type of feeling that there could be friction, but I wonder whether we draw people towards us when we actually need that energy in our own lives. So either you could possibly be very similar. You know, you might like the thought of being somebody that spreads their wings and makes an impact on the world while we're here, in a larger sense, because we all make an impact on the world, you know, even if it's just, I was going to say winking at somebody on the street. Could have been worse. I could have got my vowels mixed up, but it could, just touching people. Everybody does it, just by the simple things that you do, but this is somebody who wants to make an impact in a large sense. Okay. Right, your person is going to be, can you see these cards? Yeah. Your person's going to be somebody who has an aura about them that is too busy to look at you when you first meet them. It will be somebody who has their head down and is doing something and totally engrossed in their work. There really is that, what I would say, a stable ego of not needing others to make them feel better, and they don't do it to others either. It's the type of person who doesn't say hello and goodbye and like, what was that? It's just that feeling of somebody who's got more important things to do, but it's not insulting, it's just the way they function. The Seven of Wands here is a little, that's not a beaver. That is not a beaver, is it? What's this? That's a dam, and that's an otter. Yeah, that's an otter, okay. It's the otter that works really hard and builds things, slowly builds things until, as I keep thinking, this feeling of until they accumulate some sort of product of substance, is what I'm thinking here, or they basically are just building their little empire, and they're going to, with the World card here, there's something that's more expansive rather than just doing it. In a Saturn sense, Saturn could possibly just do it for money, possibly. It's just a very earth sign, likes to feel stable in the material world. With the World card here, there's more to it than that. I'm not saying the Saturn, that's bad. I'm just saying that is basically, you know, part of it. It is part of it. But the World card here is a mixture of like Sagittarius and Capricorn. So those two signs could be planets could be following around their chart and actually sticking onto those two signs. That's so articulate, isn't it? So anyway, that's how you're going to know them initially, I think, by the fact that they're so busy, they've got their head stuck somewhere else and they're just getting on with it. They communicate in groups. This is the type of person, if you are looking for them to take special attention of you, just you, it's the type of person that would invite you out in a group, and you will be thinking, do they like me, don't they like me? They know everybody. It's the type of person going down the street who, you know, people go and say hello and think, how do you know everybody? It's just somebody who likes to be part of a team. They may, I'm going to say in school, doesn't have to be in school, be very much into team sports, you know, football, rugby, netball, that type of group-orientated, fun activity. Just somebody, if it's a Saturn here now, Saturn makes me think of, if it's a sport, it would be somebody who does like orienteering, that type of thing, but it's still in groups. It's not somebody who does long-distance running, although Saturn is very long-distance running, I think. Somebody who works as part of a team, enjoys it, enjoys group situations. And that's how they communicate. They communicate in groups. You could actually even meet them standing up and giving a talk. Or the first time you see them, they could be in a group talking or communicating, or just in work. They are part of a team when you meet them. Or part of a sports team. You know, you could meet this person at the gym or doing some sport, or in a group in a pub. It's that type of feeling of somebody who, if you did meet them in a pub, there would be somebody who's talking about work. It would be a work situation. Somebody's talking about, if it's not work, it's something they want to achieve and how many people they can pull in. Where this person comes from, their home environment, oh my God, their home environment is very much the way something they like to replicate, because there's still a group situation here in the home environment. How you'll recognise them is a group situation as well. You will see them working well in teams. And I think at home, that's just something that was very familiar. It's somebody who would have sat around the table and chatted with brothers and sisters, or had cousins over, or spent summers away abroad, but in group situations. This is not somebody who goes and stays in a cabin in Austria on their own for a whole winter. This is somebody who works well in groups, and it makes them feel at home. If you are a group person, if you like a group of friends, you like to be introduced to lots of different people when you go into relationships, this is just for you. If you're quite like a Cancer who likes one-to-one, or very Scorpio likes one-to-one, this energy might make you feel uncomfortable. But something I said at the beginning here, that it may be something you may need to draw out of yourself, because we do meet people that bring things out of ourselves. How this person falls in love, they mesmerize groups. This is how you will probably find them when you first start falling to them. They will be in a position of talking to lots of different people, or everybody knows them. It'll be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Have you seen so and so? Oh yes, everybody knows who he is. Oh yes, everybody knows who she is. It's somebody who is prominent, in a position that's prominent, and almost mesmerizes people, and people just listen to what they're saying. It could even be their looks. It could be just something that everybody's drawn towards, quite a magnetic character, quite a magnetic personality. Or there's just something that just clicks into what is quite popular at the time. I don't know what it is. You know, things change, what people find attractive change slightly, but there's something about this person that everybody's drawn to, and you will see them in a group, you will see them working, so that they will give that impression that they're not interested, but it's not because they haven't clocked you. It's just the way that they are. They may not be too good at social niceties. It may just be somebody who will speak to you when they want to speak to you, but not before, not like introduce them. This isn't a charmer. This is somebody who's very straight, very hardworking, very group orientated. Now, for their work and their career, this is got a really strong feeling of a spiritual pusher. And this is somebody who isn't like pushes. Somebody who has an ideal and knows how the world turns and what they need to do, why they're here, because it's releasing parts of themselves that they feel that they have got to release. It's something inside them, and because of their drive and their determination, that's how they do it. It's really difficult to explain, this one. I'm going to keep going. A group person, hardworking, not particularly into social niceties, very magnetic, and somebody who's something to do with their career, their day-to-day routine is either has spiritual significance, but you may not be able to see that what's going on below the surface in their head because they're so busy driving in the outside world. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm picking up here so far. Now, this person also, this is really complicated, makes me think that they have either been in long-term relationships before, and this is where this Sagittarius energy keeps coming through, and they're not that bothered about getting immediately wound up into a long-term situation. And I wonder here with these two cards whether they have possibly been burnt in love and not particularly interested in getting dragged into that again. It may be a divorcee, it may be somebody who's just had a hard time in past relationships, and when you meet them, they're not really that interested in looking for somebody, and they're probably shocked that they're getting pulled down that track with you. Somebody could be on the rebound, as in just had a bad relationship, getting out, and you meet them and think, well, I'm not quite ready, but here we go type of thing. This is somebody very focused. Some big energy here. This is like big energy. You can't actually grab their attention all the time. It's quite a masculine feel. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female, but it's quite a masculine feel to this, of somebody who has spiritual intention without even knowing it, is very busy working, very group orientated, likes to be sociable, and then is just working their way through a relationship, which has been quite hard, and then you two meet each other, and this person isn't expecting it. You're trying to grab their attention, possibly because you're attracted to them, and it doesn't happen immediately. There's some difficulty here. And I've written down at the side here to do with this card, because I can't remember what these cards mean. And I've actually written down, which I've only just realised, because I forget what I've written, may not be the easiest to get together. Which I had totally forgotten I'd put that down. And I wasn't actually reading that with these cards. But as these cards develop, it makes me think that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, you've got some quite spiky cards to do with relationships and sexuality. This to me just feels like somebody who has had hard times with regards to this in their life. Even harder than just like a divorce. It could be something that's gone on below the surface, or something that's inside them that may have hardened them up in some way. But this is a really, really exciting feeling, but difficult to explain. I will try and sum it up at the end. And I know people get quite annoyed by me fumbling through, but that's the only way I can do it. I quite like a story. I like to sort of feel that you can pull bits out of it that are used to you. But what I'm getting from this is that the Page of Cups at the end, this is somebody who has been through hard times, but because of their tough nature and their ability to work through things, they've actually got a real softness about them, which is more admirable because it's so hard won. The Page of Cups there at the end with what I feel a tough person. To me, it's like Aries, Scorpio, Sagittarius. It's just that toughness and the magnetism, because they're not that interested in relationships. And this very possibly may play into the fact that this person may have had difficult relationships, and even sexually difficult relationships. So I don't really know with this, this could be issues here that they struggle with. But this person's drive and this person's ability to put themselves into a situation where they're helping others is a way of seeing them through situations that may have hurt them in the past. And to be honest, with the Page of Cups at the end, after what I would say quite a tough pile, is beautiful, because it just speaks to me of somebody who, regardless of what's happened, they're still surviving, they're still digging through, and they've still got a softness about them, which is really difficult. Okay. Right then, I'm going to sum it up for you. I was about to ask you then, would you like me to sum it up for you? But you can't answer. I will sum it up for you quickly. When you meet this person, you may be a little bit perturbed by the fact that you will be wondering whether they've noticed you or not. They are always in group situations. They're admired by lots of different people. They work hard. They get their head down, and they've got confidence and courage and enthusiasm. There's a very sort of mesmerising quality about this person, but I don't think they either won't be looking for a relationship when you meet them, or they'll just be out of one that has been quite painful. This person may also be pulling pain through from the past, maybe childhood issues. They work extremely well in groups, and they have what I would say a really admirable quality of wanting to make an impact in the world in a larger sense. And they still retain that softness once you get through that barrier. And you've got this card here next to this card. So there's some sort of what I would say spiky exterior with like a soft centre. Okay, right pile number one. So I hope that helps in some way, or reminds you of somebody, or you can think of somebody, or just when you recognise this personality, if you find that energy attractive. I hope, well, that's it. I hope it helps. To me, if I was talking about astrology here, it's got that Sagittarius feeling of liking, well, working well in groups and wanting to do it on a large scale. Not somebody who wants to sit at home talking to, grandma for the rest of their life. There's a real feeling of the Saturn feeling here, the Capricorn feeling of being able to work hard and achieve whatever they want. But there's also a Pluto-y feeling of being very, is there such a word as mesmeric? There's a spiritual bend here as well. I don't even know whether they know it. Do you know, I'm also getting this feeling of somebody who may like a drink, and I don't know why I'm thinking that. I think it's the energy here that's very forthright and quite potent with this High Priestess card here and the Chariot card here is making me think of somebody who may like to drink, and at times, you know, basically you may have to say stop partying, because this person doesn't live their life in halves. Really, okay, I'm going to stop there. That's really interesting energy, especially with these cards down here with relationships. And I wonder whether your person may be quite difficult to actually get out their past. You know, whether you, when you talk about the past, I wonder with these cards down here, whether you talk about past relationships or maybe childhood issues in some sense, they may actually clam up a little bit, because this has an energy of somebody who doesn't like to talk about emotions. This is somebody who just likes to act and help in groups. Okay, right, pile number 1. I'm going to go and I'm going to change my battery. Thank you very much for spending some time with me, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Right, pile number 2. The impression I get, without actually knowing why, to be honest, because I've just basically dealt them and it's just thoughts I'm having. The 2 thoughts I'm having, and I honestly don't know why, are somebody you have met as a child or somebody you have met while you were young and develops into something later on. And the other one I'm getting is somebody who's quite... I'm getting that Leo, that quiet Leo feeling. And there's no Leo cards here. I don't even know why, apart from... No, there isn't. It's just that feeling of somebody who's very reserved but has an inner strength and an inner warmth but doesn't reveal it to many. There's a feeling as well of your person that you're going to have that significant relationship with as being quite gently cool. Somebody who doesn't give a lot on initial meetings but has a... And in fact, I wonder if this person demeans themselves in some way. And I don't mean that in like demeans themselves as in roll around on the floor being sick at the end, 2 o'clock in the morning at the pub. It's that feeling of just somebody who puts themselves down. I'm thinking Hugh Jackman was the first person that sprang to mind when I said that. Somebody who laughs off their brilliance in some way. And there's a real emotional and sensitive feeling about this person. There's like a detached independence as well. It's a feeling of this person knows how to keep a relationship going. They know how to attract people, but it's as if you get too close and it smothers. It's like a fire being built. If you put everything too close together, there's no air to keep it moving. And if it's too far apart, it just won't burn at all because it sizzles out. Somebody who's in tune and sensitive enough to know. I was going to think what women want, but it doesn't matter what sex it is. I just thought of that old Mel Gibson film. You only get that man or that woman that has no idea what anybody else wants because they're just quite busy doing what they want to be and are beautiful in their own way because they normally just live and they're spontaneous and fantastic. This is not your person. Your person is somebody who I assume is quite cool, collected, has an inner warmth and knows how to communicate with people. But I think that coolness hides behind what's hiding behind that is a very passionate and intense nature that they don't like to reveal to everybody. How they communicate has what I would say somebody who takes their time to talk and speak and get to know people. Another thing that it makes me think of, I don't know if you've read any of those David Gemmell books. You take them to Greece and you just can't put them down. There's one called Troy, and then the first scene, which I got sucked into straight away because they made the main character so attractive. He's there, like lording up the whole book, and everybody wants to know who he is, and he's just some hero, and he's sat in this boat with, I don't know, some sort of slave who's taking him over to his main boat, rowing him over, and he remembers every detail about this person who's quite insignificant in his life and in the story, and they're just exchanging information like a friend. And when he gets off the boat, he says who he is, and obviously the person who is galley slave or something horrendous is in awe because of how much he remembers about him and how much he's discussing things. This is what I'm getting this feeling of. Somebody who has, I don't know whether it's an outer power yet or just an inner power, but doesn't feel the need to show off. This is a sexy pile. But I think this person comes from their roots or their home life. I'm going to sneeze. Has a feeling of one of his parents, maybe mother, doesn't really matter, maybe father, has given this person the inner strength to actually be who they are today. Who they are, how they show up in life has got a lot to do with a very good grounding. Somebody who has nurtured their child, but not in a spoilt way. Somebody who's nurtured them to do things for themselves and appreciate people. And this person is very much at home with doing a lot of watching, a lot of waiting to see whether you are actually going to live up to their expectations, because they have high expectations of themselves, which I think comes from home. And they don't want to, they've got a high set point with regards to relationships. Not in a bad way, like you need to look like this, you need to be like this. It's you need to have inner substance. This person doesn't want to let trash into their life. Not saying any of you are trash, but it's somebody who wants their life to be solid and beautiful. And that's who they're going to let into their life. Somebody, and if this is your pile, somebody who is solid and beautiful. Somebody who adds to the beauty of life rather than taking things away from people and scrabbling to feed their ego. This has got a real smooth, calm, inner burning to it. Oh, yay. How this person falls in love is... It doesn't surprise me, this, because you've got the Queen of Cups to how they fall in love, and you've got the Ace of Wands to their roots in their home life, and you've got this sort of person who's quite mesmeric. And I said that in my last pile, and I thought, have I made that word up? Mesmeric in some way, but with an internal knowing, I think, or an understanding of themselves and how they work and how they fall in love with the Queen of Cups. This is somebody who understands what they want. This is somebody who doesn't trip up over in making decisions with who they want to be with. This is like a Scorpio feel of somebody who watches and waits, and to see whether they can, or even a Capricorn feel in some way, see whether they can get that person into their life who's going to add to it, because there's a softness and a vulnerability to this person, but not lack of strength. It's not like soft, do you want to say jelly belly? I know what I'm saying jelly belly for. Somebody who is soft, but you can't take advantage of them. And with this moon card here next to this Nine of Fire, that's that feeling of smothering and fire, of knowing how to keep that fire burning. So this is quite a... This is... oh my God, I don't know the words. This person is quite a grab, I was going to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say. This person is quite a prize, and there's something about this pile that is looking for that prize. It has a very highbrow feeling to it, of somebody who wants the best out of themselves and expects you to live up to that. How highbrow. Okay, in work, I think they possibly could have a position of authority. If not, it's somebody who's very solid and shows up, works hard, is not afraid to give their opinion, is not afraid to take it on the chin when things go wrong. Somebody who's not easily moved by other people's thoughts and opinions and actions towards them. This is somebody who can see the bigger picture. They could possibly work abroad, or they could possibly work in like transportation, or actually in other countries, or at least even if they work from home, they may have a far-reaching influence. But this is somebody who's at the head of a business, and if they're not at the head, it's somebody who's people go to this person for advice, because there's just that feeling of being very much at home in what they know and who they are. But this that's what I'm saying all the way through. There's an expectation from you to be exactly the same. This is like the type of person you dream about because it's just me. You dream about because they know, you know that by being with them, you're going to bring the best out of yourself. Okay, there's a really... I'm going to throw some signs in here, not because I can see them in the cards, but it's just feelings that I get. It's like a Aquarius Pisces feeling where there's romance and a detached attitude to who they want to be and where they want to go. And I've said it in a couple of spreads. I know I can't pronounce his name, Ayrton Senna. I can remember watching that documentary on him, and there was just something about him that was really, I can't think of a better word, profound gentleman. And I don't know whether what it was, it's the way that he dealt with conflict in his life. I don't know whether it was because he was quite spiritual in his own way, his own sort of choice of spirituality, or just the way he had a dignity about him and the way that he gave so much of his money to charity. It's going to make me cry. And this is what I'm feeling with your person. But when it comes to romance, it's almost, it's exactly the same feeling. There's a cool, gentle, romantic soul here. But when they're in love, and they dream. It's like somebody who dreams of the person who's going to come into their life, and then there you are, and you show up, and this person gives you everything. The only negativity I could possibly put out of this, because I don't want to be too gushing because this pile feels fantastic, is I wonder whether there's a lot of thinking to do with sexuality. You may have to be that partner that brings out their sexuality. This person might actually like somebody who's quite forthright in sexual relationships, somebody who has that fire, or that kindling ready to get their fire going. So if you are quite a dominant personality or very self-assured in the sexual arena in some way, this might work really well because, they've got a lot to give. I keep saying a lot to give, as in it sounds like Cilla Black. But how you could help them is by being open and being quite warm and sexual yourself. It feels like to me the sexual contact with this person is something that is not ritualistic. There's like a tension there, and there's like a teaching and learning feeling here where it just works and it just has an intensity, but I don't know. I'm really trying to think from past experience, but it's blank, totally blank on that one. It's a feeling of just being on the same page. And the tension being more than you can stand, but it's not throwing each other around a bedroom. It's just very intense, but very quietly intense. It's like eye contact, it's words that aren't said, it's touching, and it's just magnetic. And I wonder whether you'll know this person by that might be a big thing there, but they're almost asking you without saying it, or maybe this is just the part you're going to play in their life, of you being, not dominance too, that's not really the wrong word for this. Confident, I suppose. Confident in yourself and your body. But the sexuality is quite a big thing, but in a very different way. I remember doing a spread once and laughing, thinking how loud that sex would be. This is not that. This is something different. This is something intense with it's eye contact, it's silences that pass each other. When you pass each other and you say nothing, you're saying everything. Yeah, this is a really sort of somebody who finds their strength from an inner understanding of themselves and being in touch with their own spirituality, whatever they choose. It's got something to do with that, and this person loves big. They're beautiful, beautiful. The Sacred Heart here at the end, how they actually do relate with you is with the Queen of Cups here, somebody who gives. This person's precious. I don't know what feel I'm getting. Pisces, Aquarius, coolness, romance, but with maybe a bit of fire in there, but not enough for them to act it out. You need to bring that out in them. It wouldn't surprise me, maybe a fire moon possibly, because you've got the Ace of Wands for home environment, so that could often speak of like a mum who's quite fiery. But to me, this is cool sweetness. Wow, what can I say to that, pile number 2? When you find them, let me know. Okay, right, I'm going to leave it there because to me that is... No, I'm not going to say beautiful because that's what I'm thinking. It just is beautiful. I'm going to leave there. Thank you very much for spending your time. Can you see all the cards? Yeah, apart from that one. That one. Okay, hope to see you again. Bye. Okay, pile number 3, I'm just going to start talking. I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower today. I don't know why, I'm just trying lots of different things. This has a real gritty, complicated feel to it. So this is somebody who's going to come into your life and it's going to feel not immediately those relationships that you look into each other's lives and fall in love. This is somebody who may come into your life in some, I'm going to say guise them, but I don't know if that's the correct word. As somebody else. They come across as somebody else. You know, it could be like a friend of your husband. It could be a teacher. It could be something that is difficult to get close to initially. There's some sort of hurt. Chiron in people's charts here. And you've got the 5 of water, which I can't say this either. La Llorona. Yeah. And to me, that makes me think of... This one is the lady who loses her children because she kills them. It's like a myth because she kills them because her husband cheats on her, I think. So she kills her own kids. And the Chiron, I'm just saying that as if it's very natural. And the Chiron here, often in relationships, Chiron it's difficult to get together. There's always some sort of hurt there. Often a case of, I'll give an example here. Chiron in relationships, I often see when there's a divorce and yes, you may possibly be together, but you're still looking after each other's kids and you've got to drop them off at the ex's house. And it's never that easy. It's not like falling in love when you're 14 and it's easy peasy. Easy peasy? Oh my God, what was that? It's just easy peasy. I reverted back to being 10 then. There's something behind this situation that is, I would say, a bit of strife to begin with. It's not going to be that one that you fall in love and you're out disco dancing all night and you're coming home and rolling around and laughing. It's this one where the situation starts from something you don't expect it to. And you've got the Devil card here as well for your first impressions of them. So to me, this makes me think of commitment. I do think this person may be in a relationship when you first meet, or there's something tangled with regards to your relationship. Something that is, tangled financially, tangled with regards to other relationships. You know, you've got like a falling in love with somebody in work, or just something that you can't get hold of. They could be older than you. You could be younger, vice versa. It's just something that is difficult. And how you will communicate initially will be Morse code. It has that feeling of not being able to communicate easily as well. And this isn't, I know this isn't the pile you wanted to click onto, is it? But it's interesting because everything's below the surface. It's like an attraction that starts, that is unspoken but felt. And then the communication is through like eye contact and understanding, but it's not direct. It's like chipping away and weaving the relationship bit by bit by bit. It's almost as if you're always trying to find an understanding in this relationship, trying to pick at any sort of contact to see if there's something going on there. The Temperance card here, amongst these harder cards, the Temperance card is balance and ease and everything being a little bit smooth, and probably being Sagittarius very open. These cards aren't. These cards are Chirony, chugging along and it being painful. You want more, being painful. Do you want more? That type of feeling. Nothing is straightforward at the beginning of this relationship when you meet this person. And I wonder whether your person may be quite passive in some ways, almost as if you can feel the relationship, you can understand what's going on below the surface, they know it as well, but they're not going to do much about it. Maybe they're putting the ball in your court, to get something started. I just like to say I did say court there. It may have sounded like something else. Okay. Just quite confusing energy here. This person falls in love fast, but doesn't reveal it. And I think it's part of the nature to fall in love fast. I think it's that eros feeling and that sort of sun in the fifth house feeling of somebody who enjoys falling in love, but it's not allowed because of the situation when you actually meet. Not that it's not allowed, it's just not easy to show it. So this is somebody with quite an amorous nature, but passive amorous nature, like a Pisces feeling as well, of somebody who falls in love, enjoys it, loves it, but almost expects you to take the initiative, and you can't take the initiative. This is why it's complicated. So there's lots of toing and froing, eye contact, brushing past each other, looking to see whether they, like a comment that's said in a group situation, you both immediately look at each other to see what you're both feeling, and you both know it. It's that type of feeling, complicated. For their career or their daily routine, this is somebody who's very good at talking, and this is where this Pisces feel may come through. Pisces are extremely good at telling a fantastic story, but the Page of Swords there, it's not Pisces at all. It's just somebody who communicates well, is very good at small talk. I don't know what their job possibly could be. It could be something to do with talking, and the Eight of Swords, something to do with counselling. Somebody that sorts other people's problems out by communicating. Somebody who solves problems, and that can be a large scope there, isn't? As in somebody that comes into people's lives and logically sorts out situations for them. So it could be that, I don't know, somebody in business. I don't really know, to be honest here, because that could be lots of different things. But this is their career. This is their career and how you might recognise them. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. You can sort it out for yourself. The Page of Swords is somebody who's very articulate, somebody who enjoys talking, enjoys starting situations, and they're quite mental. They're quite intelligent. They're quite articulate. The Eight of Swords here, it's probably the complete opposite. So it made me think that they went and sorted people's problems out. So that could be anything. It could even be a proofreader. So that's vague, I know, but that's all I'm getting from that. The Eight of Swords is anxiety to do with thoughts and to do with maybe even their mind processes. So it could even be a teacher. I know that's vague, but that's what I'm getting. A healer, teacher, proofreader, social services. It's that. It could be anything. I could go on picking them up, but you will know better than I do. Okay, this person is complicated because I think the situation that you're both in, but his or her love nature is very natural. Somebody falls in love easily, somebody who possibly gives easily, but can't to you when you first meet them. I'm just getting this feeling here that the sort of interplay when you meet this person may be something that adds to the tension, something, because you've got the Eight of Pentacles here and the Five of Swords here. And the Five of Swords is almost like batting backwards and forwards. One's dominant, one's probably a little bit more submissive. And this is the card for their sexuality. And the fact that it's quite difficult to get together with the Chiron there and with this, the Devil and the Eight of Pentacles, and trying to understand, trying to communicate, it never really being that easy. And it is like, I'm trying to think of what I know what I'm thinking. I'm going to say jigsaw then, but you know, you get those stupid flipping coat hangers out of the wardrobe, the metal ones, the thin ones, and they're all tangled up. And it's that feeling with your relationship. It's almost as if it's trying to untangle something, and that's probably what the biggest turn on in the relationship is. It's the tension through not being able to be together, possibly at the beginning, that causes the draw. Because you've got the Strength card as well next to it. You've got two, what I would say, batting backwards and forwards, fighting feelings, enjoying feeling passionate, then having to actually subdue it, enjoying the fight, one pushing back, one pulling. There's a lot of this going on. There's a lot of inner tension coming on here. I don't think, to be honest, with your last card here, it's feeling more, the more I go along, the more Scorpio it feels. There's a feeling of somebody who possibly likes an intense connection, likes one-to-one situations, enjoys falling in love, enjoys the sexual pull, who's drawn towards you because they're just, to be honest, they're drawn towards you because, to me, it feels like a karmic-y sort of feel here, where the Chiron here, there's just a feeling of being drawn towards you because they're naturally drawn towards you, although they can't get there. I didn't say that very well. It just feels to me like a draw that has obstacles. Did I sound like I was going to cry then? Has obstacles. Right, I'm going to start summing this one up, pile number one. So this is your future spouse. It doesn't have to be spouse. It's just somebody you may have a very intense relationship with, somebody who's drawn into your life for a purpose. And I'm going to say what I'm thinking here, although I don't know it's from the cards. It's like, to me in astrology, a nodal contact. It's somebody where there is a magnetic draw, even though the situation isn't easy. And there's some sort of hurt where you possibly feel that if you are together, it's never that easy because there may be other people involved. There could even be like children from other marriages, or it's just difficult to get together, or you're always in situations where you can't actually express your feelings. There's a real sort of sexual draw here, and there's a bind here, I think, that may be to do with other relationships that involves money, possibly finances, but there's a communication is tangled. The communication here is tangled when everything isn't easy. And this person, I think, in life may have learned how to be passive and almost expect you to take responsibility in moving things forward. Somebody who may be quite intellectual and actually not always take the initiative. Intellectual, yeah, possibly, because their job is coming out as two swords cards. Somebody who likes to use their mind is very good at it, but perhaps when emotions and forward movement, maybe a lot of air here, I don't know, there's lots of different feels and thoughts here, maybe not so easy in coming forward. They see, this person loves falling in love. It just feels natural to them to fall in love. But what they're getting here is different from an easy falling in love situation. This is a magnetic sexual backwards and forwards feeling where things can't actually be revealed, or they're just slightly difficult. And I wonder whether this person is quite reveling in the intensity of it. And you both might actually, looking back, find that intensity of not being able to be together being something that actually makes it more sexually exciting in some way. It's like lovers who are separated by distance, and you start fantasizing and thinking that they're even better than the relationship already is, because you fall back into daydreaming or fantasizing, as I've just said, in some way. I'm not saying your relationship is this, but there's that feeling of the tension adding to it, is what I'm trying to say. The tension of not being able to get together, adding to it. Now, this person's good with their mind. They're good at flipping ideas. They're good at understanding people. They're good at talking. They're very good at communicating. And I wonder whether in work they do find, or they do earn their money through actually solving problems. It may not be their main job. They may not have applied for a job that said problem solver in the paper, but that may be a big part of their job. And they're very good, gift of the gab, I think. So, right, pile number 3. I'm going to stop there to sum up your pile. This is where there is a draw that's magnetic, but not very easy to act out on. This person may often case in everyday situations take a more passive role, but actually is enjoying the tension and the backward and forward of a situation that's difficult to express. Their reactions and their attitudes to love are very open, very easy, very natural, not adverse to falling in love very quickly, and not adverse to long-term relationships. It's just somebody who enjoys being in love, even though they are quite mental. Not in that way, but are quite mentally, like to be mentally stimulated. The tension in this relationship is what I would say, with Chiron there, the negative, but not really. It's the plus. It's that bit that actually builds excitement. And this person may be quite internal in that way, especially with the air, and this gives a real sort of Pluto-y feeling as well, with these cards up here and the black iris, of somebody who enjoys that, and that's what actually builds this relationship and makes it work at the beginning. And this is, so it sounds a bit difficult, doesn't it? I'm really sorry, but that's what I'm getting from that. It's the inner tension that gets this person going. It's what's going on below the surface that excites them. This person has enough of talking and communicating in work, in everyday situations. They want that bit, those unsaid bits, to actually to feel that pull, and to feel like it's wrestling with the coat hangers. To feel that sort of angsty feeling is what is the sexual tension here. It's not that they're not capable of falling in love unless it's difficult. I think it's more a case of that your life circumstances make this difficult, and they're discovering a bit of themselves they didn't know was actually there. Because this person falls in love quite naturally and easily, and then you come along and the situation may be difficult, and it's like, haven't experienced this before. Okay, pile number 3. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again. Bye.